This episode of Album Rankings makes up for last week as I didn't have much material for the topic of this week's episode, where I rank 15 of the most underrated rock and metal albums of 1992. As usual, once you can subscribe to my channel, like my videos, including this one, when you're finished watching this video, check out past album rankings videos as the playlist is in the description box. We kick it off at number 15 with Torr's second record, Wild America. The record peaked at number 132 on the Billboard 200 as grunge began taking off. These hard rockers from Memphis, Tennessee are such an underrated band, and Wild America is such an underrated gem due to such tracks such as Wild America, Faith Healer, Amnesia, and Dead Man's Hand. Following this release, they released two more albums, 1994's Revolution Day. Unfortunately, the band disbanded the very same year. And their most recent one, 2019's Bastards of Beale. March or Die. Motorhead's 10th studio effort takes the 14th spot, which featured guest appearances from Ozzy Osbourne and Guns N' Roses guitarist Slash on the song I Ain't No Nice Guy, and veteran drummer Tommy Aldridge of Whitesnake and Ozzy Osbourne, as he stepped in after Phil Filthy Animal Taylor was fired early in the recording process. The album did extremely well on the charts in Germany, Switzerland, Austria, Finland, Sweden, and reached number 60 in the UK. The songs that stood out were the aforementioned I Ain't No Nice Guy, their rendition of Ted Nugent's Cat Scratch Fever, You Better Run, Bad Religion, and Hellraiser, which was also featured on Ozzy's No More Tears album, released a year earlier. Next, Tricksters Here takes the 13th spot. The album failed to reach the same success as their self-titled debut, peaking at number 109 on the Billboard 200. The songs that really stood out for being such an underrated release were Road of a Thousand Dreams, Runaway Train, Nobody's a Hero, As the Candle Burns, and What It Takes. Taking the 12th spot is Whipped, Faster Pussycat's third studio record, an album that reached number 90 on the Billboard 200. The primary single, Nonstop to Nowhere, reached number 35 on the mainstream rock charts, and the song Mr. Love Dog was a tribute to Andrew Wood, the singer of Mother Love Bone, who died in 1990. Sadly, the band would disband in 1993, but would reform in 2001. In 2006, 14 years after Whipped was released, Faster Pussycat released The Power and the Glory Hole. Whipped was not at the level as Wake Me When It's Over, but nonetheless, they had some good cuts, and one of those cuts was an underrated track called Jack the Bastard. Steelheart's Tangled in Rains takes the 11th spot. It reached number 144 on the Billboard 200, and features the standout tracks like Sticky Side Up, Electric Love Child, All Your Love, and Mama Don't You Cry, a song that went number 1 in many East Asian countries, including Hong Kong. Sadly, on Halloween night 1992, singer Milenko Matajevic suffered a severe injury on stage. It took him many years to recover, which he did, and rebooted Steelheart in 1996 for their third album, Wait. Lynch Mob's self-titled second record takes the 10th spot. This is another underrated Lynch Mob album that features future Warrant singer Robert Mason on lead vocals, replacing Oni Logan. This record had poor sales because of the grunge movement into the mainstream. However, thanks to standout tracks like Tangled in the Web, Jungle of Love, Dream Until Tomorrow, When Darkness Calls, and their cover of Queen's Tie Your Mother Down, got some positive critical reviews. This album is a notch lower than Wicked Sensation, in my opinion. We continue on with Dehumanizer, a record I reviewed many months ago on my album review series. Dehumanizer is Black Sabbath's 16th studio effort that marked the return of Ronnie James Dio on lead vocals into the band, for the first time since 1981's The Mob Rules. The songs that really stood out were Time Machine, Computer God, I, After All the Dead, and TV Crimes. In 2021, Kerrang ranked this record 8th in the best to worst ranking of all of Black Sabbath's studio albums. Meantime, the second record from alternative metal act Helmet takes the 8th spot. known for the single Unsung, which is still played on a lot of rock radio stations to this very day. Other standouts were singles like In the Meantime and Give It. The record reached number 68 on the Billboard 200. Images and Words, the second studio effort from progressive heavy metal band Dream Theater, takes the 7th spot. This one remains the band's most commercially successful studio album, reaching gold in the US and reached number 61 on the Billboard 200. Pull Me Under and Another Day were the standout tracks for this classic gem. The Lizard, the second studio album from Florida quartet Saigon Kick, takes the 6th spot. This album reached number 80 on the Billboard 200 and number 1 on the Billboard's Heatseekers album charts, and went gold. Arguably their best record, known for such songs as All I Want, Hostile Youth, God of 42nd Street, Freedom, and their hit single Love Is On The Way, which reached number 12 on the Billboard Hot 100. Again, Saigon Kick's best studio album is The Lizard. Firehouse's second release, Hold Your Fire, takes the 5th spot. The album reached number 23 on the Billboard 200 and featured the standout tracks Reach for the Sky, Rock You Tonight, When I Look Into Your Eyes, and Sleeping With You. By the way, CJ Snare, may you rest in peace, brother. Hold Your Fire spent 30 weeks on the Billboard Top 200. At number 4 is Three Sides to Every Story, the third effort from Boston quartet Extreme. This would be the last to feature drummer Paul Geary. The album reached number 10 on the Billboard 200 and went gold. It features the songs Rest in Peace, Stop the World, Our Father, and Tragic Comic. Despite the record being one of the band's finest works, the record itself was a commercial failure, not living up to the success of Porno Graffiti. The Ritual, the 5th studio album from Testament. Not too long ago, I ranked this album number 1 as Testament's best when I did an album ranking video on them, and I went on record stating that it's their best effort thanks to tracks like Electric Crown, So Many Lies, and Return to Serenity. At that time, the album reached number 55 on the Billboard 200, which was their highest position until 2012's Dark Roots of Earth. Psycho City, the 6th studio album from Great White, takes the runner-up spot. This was a year and a half after Hooked was released, the final Great White album for Capitol Records, featuring the standout tracks like Love Is a Lie, Old Rose Motel, and Big Goodbye. Even though Great White was a 4-piece, Dave the Beast Spitz played all the bass parts on this record. It reached number 107 on the Billboard 200. And finally, taking the top spot, Dog Eat Dog. The third studio album from Wart takes the top spot as the most underrated rock and metal album of 1992. Dog Eat Dog would be the last Warrant album released on Columbia's label of Sony Music, and the last to feature lead guitarist Joey Allen and drummer Stephen Sweet, as they left the band 2 years after this record was made. The album reached number 25 on the Billboard 200 and was certified gold. The standout songs include Let It Rain, The Bitter Pill, All My Bridges Are Burning, and Machine Gun. That's why I picked this, the most underrated album of 1992. Much like 2 weeks ago when I ranked 15 of the most underrated rock and metal albums of 1991, this list was not an easy one to rank. Not at all. Now I know I'm leaving many of them out, but I only picked 15, which was the limit I set for this video anyway. But this is not the only album rankings video I'm doing this week. I got another.
No,